Welcome to The Read Along,
a mini book club for your ears.
I'm your host, Scott.
I'm your other host, Anita.
And join us on a journey through a good book,
one chapter at a time.
Do you like talking about movies? Do you like talking about mediocre movies? Do you like talking about how you could have fixed mediocre movies? Well, I certainly do, and you can listen to me, Scott C. Bourgeois, along with my co-hosts Greg Beaver and Liam Creswick, as we give our notes in I Have Some Notes. You can follow it now on your podcatcher of choice or support it by visiting patreon.com/I Have Some Notes. Upfront apologies if my voice comes across a little rough. I am coming off a cold as we record this, and things are still a little rough. So yeah, just if I'm a little scratchier or hoarser than normal, that's the reason why.
Yeah, poor Scott's been congested all week. It's very snuffly sounding.
Yeah, naturally, one of our children brought home a cold.
As they do.
He was down for about 2 days and then bounced back. I will be struggling with this for weeks.
Because colds hit harder when you're old.
They do. Children bounce back real quick. They get sick a lot, but they get over it real fast. And then whatever I catch, it just lingers.
And I say this with love. You have a bad habit of trying to power through instead of resting, making yourself better.
You're not wrong.
I love you, and I want you to look after yourself. Because I don't want to get sick.
Also, you don't want to get sick because you've got some plans coming up.
Yeah. I got a little road trip.
Little excursion.
A little teeny road trip in my future, which will be fun.
That won't interfere with our recording schedule. We will have things normally taken care of around that. So mentioning it now won't be a blip on your radar.
Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit.
There are 7 days in our week, and we only care about 2 of them. So it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we have so much to talk about. Let us stop with the blathering.
Sure. We'll do a brief recap of our previous chapter, which was chapter 4, in which Dani goes to try to recruit some of her mom's old crew, runs into her ex-best friend and has kind of a bittersweet reunion, runs into her ex-crush/romantic interest.
I got the impression they were dating. Like, he's an ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, and it did not go smoothly, and also got straight up smacked in the mouth.
Yep, slapped right across the face.
By her mom's former partner and told to git. And so she does. And that leads us into Chapter 5 of The Frame Up by Gwenda Bond. So Dani has a little bit of time to shake off the encounter with Rabbit and is like, well, obviously I'm going to have to find some new crew, which is never great. But also can't bring herself to, like, go crawling back to Archer for help. That's like a bridge she's not willing to cross at this time.
That's a humiliation too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fortunately, the drive between Rabbit's house and the art viewing is enough time for Dani to, like, calm it down.
Yeah. Right? Get things under control.
Get her breathing back, all that good stuff, right? Calm her nerves a little.
And she pulls up at the mansion of the Hackworth family and is greeted with a scene. Because the 3 ex-wives are all thrown a fit while the son and his daughter are just kind of like standing by with Rose, amused.
Well, I don't think Rose is amused so much as frustrated because 2 of them are having a fight, like an actual outright screaming match on the front lawn, and one of them is throwing clothes out just on the lawn.
And admits straight up later on, William Hackworth isn't here to appreciate that I'm throwing his stuff out of the mansion, but it's very cathartic.
Yeah.
So these are basically the Maiden, the Matron, and the Crone.
More or less.
Because Hackworth had 3 wives, and they are basically a young woman, a middle-aged woman, and an older woman at this point.
Basically. And they are behaving exactly as you'd expect, like, wealthy, overprivileged white women to behave, which is badly.
Well, one of them seems to be a little more level-headed. The matron, Diana, the one who's been throwing clothes out on the lawn, seems to be a little more on the level. Sandy and Beverly,
yeah.
the Maiden and the Crone, respectively.
Yeah, Beverly is the older woman.
Yeah.
Older woman. Sandy is the youngest of them.
So Dani does not get a great first impression of the three of them, and Rose is like, I warned you.
Yeah, it's like, see? Behaving badly.
But she does get a good impression from two of the Hackworths present. Specifically, Brad, the son and inheritor.
Like, technically her boss.
And
right?
Emma, his daughter.
His daughter, who is...
precocious.
Yes.
Delightfully so.
Young child, like running around with face paint on, that kind of thing. I pictured her like 6-7 years old.
Yeah.
In there somewhere, probably.
Brad is, like, based on the conversation that Dani had with Rose earlier on, I was kind of under the impression that Brad was going to come across poorly. That he was going to be a spoiled rich kid sort of guy.
Yeah, me too.
And it turns out, no, he's actually pretty on the level. And charming to the point where Dani's like, I do not hate having his attention right now.
Right?
Like, there's a little bit of a spark there.
Maybe I wouldn't call it a spark, but I would call it like a compatibility.
Certainly.
Maybe.
Yeah. She instantly respects him
Yeah.
because he comes across well. And he kind of lays things out. Number one, she was hired on recommendation from Archer because of the fact that she's her mom's daughter.
Yes.
Because her mom has a reputation as a security expert / art thief.
Right. And so one assumes the apple does not fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
And in this case, they're probably assuming correctly, except for the part where she's actually going to steal something.
Well, yes.
But whatever.
But at the same time, like, this is common practice with private security. You hire someone who used to be a thief because they know how to break into stuff.
Yeah, they know how to prevent theft.
That's the whole idea of the white hat hacker, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
And again, she came recommended from trusted sources. Dani actually does probe him. So how well do you know Archer? And it's the one thing he's evasive about, where he's like, oh, does anybody know Archer? And she actually makes a mental note of the fact that that's the one topic he evaded her on.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you. I was expecting all of these people to
be terrible.
To be horrible, overprivileged, like selfish white people.
Yeah.
And Brad isn't.
No, I mean,
his daughter I give a pass to because she's a child.
Yeah. And she comes across precocious and charming enough that Dani's like, I like that girl.
Yeah.
But Brad also comports himself well, and he lays everything out very succinctly and answers many of her questions. For example, the reason I want to sell everything off is because that way everybody gets a piece. Dad's intention was that the collection not get broken up. I don't know exactly why, but you know what? I don't want it all. And this way, his ex-wives are taken care of, my daughter's taken care of, everyone gets a little slice of the pie, we all make a tidy fortune.
And I don't
happy.
have to deal with this thing that my dad has left me that I do not want.
That I do not want. Also, it secretly pleases me to break it up because screw that guy. He was a terrible father, and I don't want to obey his wishes.
He calls it out really early that his dad was this, like, unethical, horrible person that was a terrible father, just a terrible human being in general.
And so if he had final wishes to not have this collection broken up, that is all the more reason why Brad wants it broken up.
He's doing it to
spite
posthumously spite his father.
Yeah, he's hoping he's spinning in his grave. The reason why he's letting Rose stick around with it is because he feels like it's the proper thing to do. It gives her a little bit of closure with this collection she helped curate.
Yeah, Rose's whole function with his family was this collection of art.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if that's like her sole purpose, but it was a big part of it, at least.
Yeah, she's quite possibly one of the few people in the world who knew what was all in there.
Yeah.
Or at least most of what was all in there.
Besides Hackworth Sr.
himself. Yeah, because they even mentioned, like, it was such a secretive collection, even when people were bringing in new pieces, they were blindfolded.
Yeah, but it led to the correct gallery, and that's all they got to see was the gallery they were putting it up in.
Or the wall they were putting it up on.
Yeah.
Like, very little else.
Right? And Dani mentions at one point that Brad feels like the only sane one that she's spoken to here. And it genuinely made me go, he's almost too likable.
I mean, it could be an act.
It might be. He certainly knows something that Dani doesn't.
Yes.
Right? There's something with Archer that he knows that he's not letting on, which I feel is probably important.
Probably. Again, it's the one thing he's being evasive about.
Yeah.
So they all start heading down to the collection, a separate manor on the grounds, the Fortress of Art.
So the spoiled wives are taken across in a limousine.
Yep.
And
so they can make an appearance.
Yes, exactly. And then Brad and Dani
schmooze.
just walk.
Yeah.
They walk and talk because, of course, Dani needs to be updated because really this is her first day on the job and there is information she requires. And that's perfectly justified, right? It fits into her story really well.
Yes. She's very careful not to probe too much into things that might raise suspicion, like what happened to the previous security guy.
Yeah.
But she does get some of the preliminary information she's going to need to case this place and to set up her heist, like what kind of basic security features are in place, what kind of cameras, motion sensors, stuff like that. Army of drones, cameras on the inside, motion sensors, absolutely. Though apparently William Hackworth could turn them off so that he could go up and touch his art, which she makes a mental note of.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be important later.
Also, what are the most valuable pieces? Which he's a little like, why do you need to know that? And she's like, because those would be the things that people would be most interested in stealing. And he's like, right. That makes perfect sense. I'll see if I can get you a valuation.
Yeah, exactly. If this was legit for her, if she was legitimately a head of security, yes, that is something she would need to know.
Yeah, well,
right?
She is legitimately the head of security. She's just also planning to rob the place.
You know what I mean.
Of one specific piece of art.
You know what I mean.
They get to the Fortress of Art, and there's already a gaggle of people there waiting to go in.
Yes.
People who are going to be bidders. There's obviously, like, fashionably rich people.
Snooty art people.
Definitely one person who's dressed down on purpose because she's like, that person's got tech money. A bunch of reporters with notepads, which she does clock and gets told a moment later.
No cell phones.
No cell phones are being allowed inside.
And I love the reverse clock of that. Because he answered her question before she asked it.
Because he's very astute.
And she realizes that he is paying attention to her and what she is paying attention to.
Yep.
It's one of those, like, she knows that he knows that she knows, like, layered things.
He's canny.
He's sharp.
He's sharp, which could be dangerous if she's planning to rob him.
Right?
She also clocks other thieves.
Yeah, a couple of, 3, I think, people that she recognizes because she knows they are magic.
Yeah. One is a guy named Brenner who apparently is like a lock specialist. He's one of those guys who has magic fingers and is good with locks. Mm-hmm. And there seems to be like a friendly respect. She gives him a nod. He gives her a nod back. The other two she notices are known only as the evil twins.
That does not bode well.
Yeah. I guess they've got a reputation. She doesn't actually know much about them personally, though. But she knows them by reputation.
She knows of them, yes. Yeah. Well, and then, of course, she gets introduced to this little crowd of people. And at her name drop, there's like murmurs and whispers. And my God, Grant Passant, oh my God, Danielle Passant.
Yeah. And then the doors are thrown open.
Oh.
And everybody who's interested in purchasing art from the Fortress of Art is finally allowed in to see this magnificent collection. And Dani can't help herself. She's trying to be cool. She's trying to be cool.
She fails at being cool.
She rolls
so
a
hard.
1 on the cool check. She
is floored by the art in front of her.
Flabbergasted, like in instant awe. Cannot help but geek out to the point where Brad Hackworth is even like, it's kind of fun watching you geek out about all this. Like, I kind of almost get why people like art.
Yeah.
Because it's not really his scene.
He's watching her like the art, and he's like, oh, okay. This is something people get excited about. She must really be passionate about this.
Yeah.
And even though he doesn't know that passion himself, he understands what's happening.
Yeah, he gets the passion even if he doesn't understand what's behind it.
Now, let's get to the part that's going to take up the meat of our podcast here, because I could talk about this forever.
So,
the magic.
Yeah, Dani quickly recognizes, first of all, to a layperson, there's no rhyme or reason to the way things are put up. Like, works by masters. Works that, by all accounts, shouldn't exist, like a lost Vermeer, are on display, and they're just displayed seemingly haphazardly in a way that doesn't make sense. It's not flowing through time periods. It's not set up by art styles. It's not...
moods, nothing.
Nothing. It's just this random mishmash of art. But she quickly clocks, because she can feel it the second she crosses the threshold into the Fortress of Art.
Yeah.
This place is humming with magic.
Yeah. It's like a magical mesh that all of these paintings are creating. And that's the methodology to these galleries, is that they are arranged by magic.
Yeah, and that immediately makes her realize, oh, William Hackworth is a wizard.
Yeah.
He was at least aware of the magic world and aware of magic, because this is set up for magic purposes. I don't know what. It was probably sinister, and it's probably for the best that Brad is breaking it up, but there was definitely something magic going on here.
Yes, and still is. Like, the magic is still there, humming away.
Yeah, because the collection hasn't been broken up yet. She follows kind of like the tug of the magic as to where it's getting strongest. And it leads through a couple galleries to this final gallery where there's this ornate chair. So it's clearly like where William Hackworth liked to bask most of the time.
Yep.
And what do you think it's set up right in front of?
Oh, we all know it.
It's a chair set up right in front of this portrait of Archer. This portrait that Archer wants.
Yeah.
Dani is, number one, a little surprised that that's where the focal point is. And number two, is a little floored by this painting because she knew this painting was going to be here. It's what she was hired to steal.
Yep.
But it's this impossible painting because based on the composition, the art style, the framing, it has to be at least 100 years old.
More than that.
So it's either an incredible forgery, an impossibly good forgery made by someone...
A forgery so good she cannot detect it.
Yeah. And was not made by her and was made by someone at least as good as her, which is in itself interesting. Or Archer's over 100 years old, which is also very interesting.
Right? Okay, so let's do a little bit of world building here. So we learn that art is what is fueling Dani's magic, basically. Right? It's how her gift works.
Kinda, yeah.
Right? She knows how to channel the magic from the art into her own art, which is why her forgeries are so good. Here's the rabbit hole I fell down.
Okay.
Anita has a problem with overthinking things, and I super overthought this. We still don't know exactly how magic works here. But based on how Dani explained how her personal magic works, it makes me wonder, could anyone be magic if they just found the right source? Not necessarily art, but like anything. It's just that most people don't find their magical source, right?
It's possible.
Dani found magic in the art. The way she phrases it is that maybe not everybody can sense it, but she can sense it.
Yeah.
Hackworth could sense it.
Well, and it turns out a couple other magical people in the building right now can sense it. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So it makes me wonder, like, is everything magic? And just if you happen to be the right wizard who happens to find the right thing, maybe that's your magic.
Maybe, but again, if it's just the magic in art, that would also explain why art theft is the realm of magic.
Yeah.
It's where the magical underworld lives.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. At the moment, that's all we have. We know for sure that art has magic and that so far everyone we've met that's magical is involved somehow in the art world. Lots of it in the art underworld, apparently.
Yeah. And to be fair, the other reason why Dani was looking specifically for Archer's painting wasn't just because she was drawn to it. She had been looking for it because she needed to figure out where it was. And if she intends to make a forgery of it, she needs to see it.
Of course.
She explicitly has said before, one of the prerequisites for her forging a piece of art is she has to get a look at it first.
Well, yeah. Again, we learned this is how her magic works. She can feel it.
Yeah.
From the painting itself,
and
she channels that into her art to make a perfect forgery.
And this painting is magic in a way she's never experienced before.
Yeah.
Like, she can feel magic oozing off of this to the point where she half expects the painting to just move. And maybe that's because it's at the focal point of this magical mesh.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's at the focal point because it's such a powerfully magical painting.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is. We know it's at the center. We don't know why. It very well might be a Dorian Gray situation.
That's still my number one suspicion.
Here's Nita overthinking things again. What if it is a Dorian Gray situation, but not necessarily with life or age? Maybe it has to do with magical power.
Hard to say.
Maybe the way this building is set up, right? This magical mesh feeding into this one central location. Maybe he is connected to this painting somehow.
And it's feeding his magic.
Exactly. And he's using all of this art to boost his magic.
That's possible, but why wouldn't he then fight to keep the collection together rather than just steal his painting out of it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, why was Hackworth doing this and not Archer? What's the connection between those two?
Yeah, and what was this magical engine fueling for Hackworth? Obviously, it wasn't eternal life, because he's dead.
And the biggest question, why does Rose want it?
Yeah, not just Rose, because Archer wants it.
Well, no,
Dani,
we know
Dani's
Archer
aware
wants
of that.
it.
Yeah.
And Dani wants it because Archer wants it.
But even beyond that, who else was drawn to the painting? Because when Dani turns around, because Brad's like, oh, you've attracted some fans, she turns around, and who's standing in the room behind her?
All the magical folks.
Brenner and the evil twins are there, too.
So we don't know that they specifically want it. Yes, they've been drawn here. But we know for sure Rose wants it.
Oh, yeah, because she just, like, loops her arm under Dani's and is like, oh, you found this painting. Isn't it marvelous? This is one of the ones I am determined to purchase at the auction. And Dani's like, oh, super.
Yeah, crap.
And that is actually, like, the final punctuation point on the chapter as well. So we've come to the end. But
yeah, and I overthought so much of this story. My goodness.
yeah.
You should see my notes.
I'm curious if Dani might not try to recruit Brenner or the evil twins for her heist.
Maybe.
It's possible they're being introduced as rival thieves. It's possible they're being introduced because she's like if they're already here and they're looking to rob from this place, look, guys, I'm already the security chief. I'm on the inside. We can do this.
And if they don't want the Archer painting...
Exactly. I just want one painting. The rest of the art, all yours.
Yeah.
Or whatever paintings you're looking for, all yours.
Yeah.
This
care
this
about
could
this
be,
one? Anything else here?
Yep.
Help yourselves.
This could be an opportunity for her as opposed to rivals. I'm just saying.
It could be.
That's possible.
It could
or
very well be.
It could be rival thieves.
Who knows?
I mean, should you be trusting people called the evil twins? Hard to say.
Depends on which side you're on. I'm not going to lie. I do like the idea that they might get looped in and be part of the crew.
Look, if you're planning to rob the place anyway, I am too. We could work together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm keen to see how... You know me, I love a good heist. I'm keen to see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll find out more of how it goes as we move into Chapter 6, which you're going to want to read up on in time for next week. In the meantime, of course, as always, you give us a little rating and review on your podcatcher of choice. That helps us out.
Oh, it really does. And also, we appreciate it.
Indeed.
It's nice.
We also appreciate being spoken to via social media.
Oh, yeah. Pick your poison. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and Goodreads. We are at The Read Along for most of them.
You can also send us an email.
Oh, we love those too. You can reach us at thereadalong@gmail.com.
And with that said, as always, we love you very much, and we'll see you next time.
A strong urge to go watch Ocean's 11.
Thank you for joining us on The Read Along with your hosts Anita and Scott Bourgeois. All Read Along music is by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Cover art is by Aaron Beaver. Be sure to join us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Read Along, and check out our group on Goodreads.com.